This brings us to the return of the living dead.
In all honesty, I'm pretty sure Leo only wanted to know about the new Tsar and what would his actions be until his death in 2080. Once he takes the empire in 2018, or so, he would destroy Daesh, and yes, he would only refer to them with that name, in the Levant and the Kim regime in North Korea. He would have a Cold War standoff with Trump's America until 2025 when Trump is replaced with a Democratic female president. He would end homelessness in his empire and in allied nations along with combating world hunger. The Russian Empire could be at war with the Beijing Dominion along with its North Chinese neighbors in the 2020s, along with Turkey due to its military aggression against the Putin administration. World War III could start anywhere in the 2020s with Russia being the victor. The new Great Depression would engulf the globe and would last until the mid-2030s. Advancements in history, math, and science would be made under the reign of the new empire, and these improvements would also apply to the BRICS organization. Islam would cease to exist by the 2040s due to them being a major cause for World War III, while Judaism would also go extinct due to their already small population. World War III targeting them just like World War II did, Russia covering up their existence, and the collapse of America along with the total destruction of Europe and Israel. Christianity would be a minority worldwide, with Buddhism and Hinduism being the major religions, thus resulting in Christian terrorism. Half of the world would be a nuclear wasteland because of World War III, but the Avatar would try everything in his power to prevent World War III. But if failed, then he would try to limit the destruction and clean up the aftermath. 2050 is when global warming hits its peak and thus causes the Great Flood. This would cause a migration crisis for the already struggling empire, which may or may not have to deal with nuclear fallout, but did just enter a recession. Russia would be either bitter friends or hostile enemies with the surviving nations across the globe, since everyone is competing for resources. Life would be terrible in the southwest and central sections of the country for the next 15 years or so. Another civil war would break out in 2053 and could last until 2058 between the imperial government and Siberian separatists, who want independence from the empire. Enemies of Russia would try to aid Siberia in any way they can, while Russia's allies would try anything to stop them. Now, as far as how the war could end, I believe it would either be an imperial victory or a stalemate simply because Siberia wouldn't have the right amount of supplies or troops to defeat Russia. Despite Russia also being weakened in the post-flood years, they still would have some power over anyone that opposed them. Now, once the Civil War ends, the Avatar would abdicate in favor of his son taking the throne. The second Tsar would then begin the reconstruction period of not only Russia but also the reintegrated Siberia and whatever nation the empire annexed, the same nation the Avatar's wife is from, if the nation was close by. The second Tsar would die in 2061 for whatever reason, and thus his older sister would continue the reconstruction process during her decade-long reign. My guess is she would be more like her mother, and she would have disagreed with her father and brother on how the empire was managed. So she would alter her brother's reconstruction strategy either for better or worse. It's most likely she would be favored by the common people in both Russia and Siberia, along with her maternal homeland, and the reconstruction process would be a success. However, like the former Confederate States of America after the American Civil War, we would have pro-hate groups in Siberia and wherever else against the imperial government and certain individuals. The first Tsarina would crack down on these oppressive communities with both legal jurisdiction and brute force. The economy would start to boom again along with housing, education, and healthcare. So she would be a great empress overall and perhaps the best monarch Russia-Siberia has had since the restoration of the monarchy. But now we enter the 2070s, and this is where the Avatar would force the Tsarina to abdicate in order for her niece to ascend the throne. Now the 2070s would be a time period that's a mix between the politics of the 2050s and 60s. Because the second Tsarina would support the decisions made by her aunt, but also thinks somewhat like her father, and this causes the 2070s to be the decade of peace, like 1950s America, with any major turmoils occurring randomly in the decade. Now we come to the 2080s, where the day has finally come where the Avatar dies. This would be the decade of darkness known as the turmoil of the 2080s. Feminism would arise in the empire during the 2080s, and the call for more civil rights and independent autonomy would take hold. There's more, but the Avatar story is basically over, and anything after the 2070s will just be random speculation beyond what our early 21st century minds could comprehend. Alright, now we're once again at the end of the video. Pretty interesting, and I hope I've answered certain questions of yours, Leo. I don't plan to disappoint you in any way, or the rest of you for that matter. Now, I have to take a break with Codename Altair for the meanwhile, for episode 6. It's not going to be released for a little while. Well, the next video to be released will be part 3 of episode 1, Project Y, of Codename Deneb. It's time we brought that show back from the grave. Or that's what I would say if we already haven't. And then after that is going to be a special project with a certain introduction from a very famous celebrity. We all hope to see you all there. Bye-bye.
Ah yes, there is one thing I forgot. Hope is such a splendid thing.
I'd buy that for $1.